Yeah, this is a reply to Surrogate of Yahushai, his comment on the video put up by Elder Pasitar entitled Eminem is a Jake, right? Now, Surrogate of Yahushai says this. He said, that's why I will never consider Prince as Mozart ever. So you just might have to reconsider that, my man. And I replied to him, there are many artists, reputable artists, that have made the comparison between Prince and Mozart. Now, I forgot which artist it was. I was watching the interview, and it was a reputable artist, and it was a woman, and she worked with Prince. And she said that Prince reminded her of a modern day Mozart. Now, it was Elder Pastor who I first heard made the comparison between Prince and Mozart, and I totally agree with it. All right, even when, and then Apostle Todd mentioned the movie Amadeus, because Mozart's full name was Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And the movie Amadeus, which starred, I think the name of the actor was Tom Hulce. I think he played the role of Mozart. All right, when you watch that movie Amadeus, you can totally see how the lead guy who played Mozart, you can totally see the comparison between him and Prince. Okay, the way he lived his life. Watch the movie, all right, Amadeus, which I believe Amadeus means friend, friend of God, friend of God, literally means friend of God. All right. Now, I found this article here. This is from Minnesota Spokesman Recorder. It says this, as you see here. It says basically remembering Prince 1958 to 2016, and there's a video of Prince as a very young boy. All right. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me see if I can find it. You can clearly see. You can just look at his eyes, and you can clearly see he was totally different. And when I mean different, I don't mean in a, which he was a little flamboyant. Not a little, he was flamboyant, but you could see that he had that spirit in him already. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Prince as a little boy, 12-year-old boy. Prince as a kid. Okay, here it is right there. Look at look at the glow. Look at the shine on that dude's face, man. All right. You the point I'm trying to make is you could clearly see within that was a hell of a spirit within that little boy. Okay, even as a little boy. Let's check it out.
Thanks to Adobe Premiere Pro's Essential Sound panel, I'm able to search through Adobe Stock's sound.
Well, as if 2022 couldn't get any wilder, there's now newly uncovered footage of legendary artist Prince. Very few image of the musician's childhood exist until the stroke of luck from a local station, a news station in Prince's hometown.
Which side are you on? On a film reel of a teacher strike more than 50 years ago, an interview with one student immediately stood out.
Are most of the kids in favor of the picketing?
Yep.
Did you hear that? An interview with one student immediately stand out. All right. Hold up, man. Let me play that again. Why did it stand out? Because the spirit that was within that boy, he already had it as a little boy. He already just had it. He had that persona. He had that spirit. You can't hide. This goes back to what the scriptures say about Israelites. You can't hide that spirit, man. We have a special spirit. The Lord say we're his peculiar people. All right. Let me bring it back. Listen to what the individual speaking. Listen to what he said again. an interview with a student immediately stand out.
On a film reel of a teacher strike more than 50 years ago, an interview with one student immediately stood out.
Are most of the kids in favor of the picketing?
Yep.
How come?
I think they should get a better education too, and I think they should get some more money, cause they be working extra hours for us and all that stuff.
Look at how the people are gathered around him. He just had that spirit, man. All right? He just had that spirit.
The first thing I thought was, I can't believe that's him.
WCCO production manager Matt Liddy made the discovery.
I immediately just went out to the newsroom and started showing people and saying, I'm not going to tell you who I think this is, but who do you think this is? And every single person, Prince.
Yes, that Prince. Prince Rogers Nelson, the Minneapolis-born and bred global superstar. But there was one catch.
We did not get him saying, I'm Prince Nelson.
So we set out to get some confirmation.
There's not a ton of images of Prince as a kid.
We asked historian Kristen Schamler, who's extensively researched and written about the Purple One, to take a look at the footage. And, well...
Oh, I think that's him, definitely. Oh my gosh. And this definitely looks like Lincoln Junior High School, where he would have been attending school in April of 1970.
We also compared it to a photo of Prince when he was believed to be in the 6th grade. Despite the evidence, we still needed someone who knew Prince as a kid to confirm.
We go back as far as kindergarten at John Hale Elementary in North Minneapolis.
That someone was Terrence Jackson, a childhood friend and neighbor who played in Prince's first band, Grand Central, when they were teenagers.
That is Prince. Standing right through the hat on, right?
Yeah, keep watching.
That's Skipper! Oh my gosh! That's him. Wow, that was him.
Yeah, Skipper was his nickname.
What do you,
I'm like blown away and I'm totally blown away. Mark my words, you guys have found a real gem.
Extra hours for us.
As far as we can tell, this video of an 11-year-old Prince is among the oldest we can find outside of Prince's personal archives. And I think...
Yeah, and you gotta check out a video with this guy, the leader of the group called The Time, Morris Day. And man, do I remember the time when because at that time I was living in Milwaukee, and the time was huge out there. This had to be the late 70s. This had to be 79 going into 80. Actually 80, 81. At that time I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and man, the time was huge out there, as well as Prince. As a matter of fact, my sister used to dance in high school, and she and these two other girls, they form a group called the Primetimers, and their main idol was Prince. All right, this is a memory going way back. Anyway, Morris Day. You can find a video on Morris Day where he talks about Prince. All right, working with Prince and how special he was to music. I mean, this is a dude that could play more than 22 instruments. This is a dude that any instrument he picked up, he mastered the instrument. So why is it so hard to believe that he would be Mozart in the reincarnation, or one of those greats, Mozart, Beethoven? But the point is, so many artists have compared him to Mozart. Here we have this article, right? Prince is often called a modern-day Mozart. Yeah, because that is Mozart, or that was, he passed away, Prince passed away. That was Mozart coming back in the reincarnation. Everything is reincarnated, man. We're all regenerated from the past, man. I don't see why certain people can't understand or accept that. Once you die, that's not it, man. You go into, let's get the scripture. You go into the spirit world, right? You go there for a period of time, but then you come back. You come back in a body that's made by your parents for you to live the next life, okay? Let's get Ecclesiastes 12. I mean, this is so easy to understand. And the Bible tells us when we come back around the third or fourth generation. Ecclesiastes 12:7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it. Right. The spirit goes back to the spirit world, to the Father of spirits, which is the Most High Yahweh. That's his name, Yahweh. And the Son's name is Yahweh Shai. Okay? And then when the appointed time comes, the Father determines, because the issues of death and life come from the Father. So he determines when it's the appropriate time for your spirit to leave the spirit world and come back to the earth. And that happens when you're put into a body. Okay, once the doctor in the hospital slaps you and you start to cry and you come to life, you know how they do that stuff. Your spirit has arrived. Your spirit is in that body. Okay? And now you're in that body to begin your next life. Okay? It's very simple to understand, man. It's not rocket science. And the scriptures support it wholeheartedly. Let's get to Exodus. I think it's Exodus 20 and 5. Yeah, it says, Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity, listen good, visiting the iniquity of the fathers, because we're regenerated, we're reincarnated through our fathers. All right, that's why when you look up the word genealogy, you'll see the word fathers there. Look up the etymology of the word genealogy. It goes back to fathers, because we're reincarnated, we're regenerated through our fathers. We keep coming back over and over again. That's why history repeats itself. The same spirit keeps coming back. When Prince, back when he was Mozart, he was putting out all those great works. Mozart, listen to the music of Mozart. Okay? He's very famous for the works that he produced. Then when he came back as Prince, again, the history repeated itself. Prince was very famous for the music that he put out. All right? And also his being scandalous. Prince was known to be scandalous, just like Mozart. Watch the movie Amadeus, okay? You'll see the comparison. A lot of you Israelites just ain't spiritual, man. I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Anything generated keeps coming back, folks. Anything generated keeps coming back over and over again. What is the purpose of a generator? To keep the current going over and over again. And by the way, that's what we have running through our bodies, people. We have current running through our bodies. We have electricity running through our bodies. That's why when your heart gives out, the first thing they do, they try to shock you back into life. They use, I forgot what it's called. They put those, for lack of a better term, they put those prongs on your chest and they go clear. And then they shoot you with that electric. And if you can't come back, then that means your spirit is gone. Your electric is gone. Okay? All that's left now is the shell of you. The old house that you were once in, which once the spirit leaves that house, the body, it starts breaking down rapidly. By the third and fourth day, forget it. Your body is almost turned to dust. Okay? So, some people are just not spiritual, man. But anyway, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. That's around the time we keep coming back. And the Apostle Paul, he laid it out. Let me see if I can find it. 2 Corinthians 5. The reason why we come back is we have to pay for what we did the last time we were on the planet Earth. All right. That's why some people, they get killed horrifically. And you always have, you'll see a person get killed horrifically, and they'll always interview the family members or the friends. Oh, he was such a great person. She was such a great, wonderful person. Yeah, in that life, might have been a great, wonderful person. But the big question is, what did she do or he do the last time he was here on the planet Earth? Huh? What wickedness did he or she do the last time she or he was on the planet Earth? What wickedness did they do, which caused them to receive such a horrific judgment in the future life, in the life that when they were reincarnated? Nobody asked that, because you know why? Very few people understand the judgment of the Heavenly Father, and the scriptures tell us that. You know, the first thing, oh, he was so innocent. No one's innocent, man. We all pay for what we did in our past life, all right? You have to understand that, okay? 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter and the 10th verse. This is what happens at death. It says, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Yahushua. Now, let's not forget that Yahweh have put Yahushua in charge. Yahushua is, like the Scots say, Yahushua is the man now. Okay? Yahushua is the man, all right? He sits at the left-hand side of the left-hand side. The right-hand side of the Father, nothing but Satan. The right-hand side of the Father sits Yahushua, and he's the one in charge right now. The Father have given him that position. Okay, so when we pass away, this is where we go. We go right before the judgment seat of Yahushua, like it says here. And usually, you know, right before you die, you kind of know, you know, and you know, the angels are sent to you, basically to take you home, take you right before that judgment throne. Okay. Yeah, man, that's how it goes down. Okay? For we must all appear, your spirit leaves your body, and that's it. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Yahushua, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he have done, whether it be good or bad. Yeah, and then we're sent back to the planet Earth. All right? To live that life, and depending on what you have done or did in the past, you know, determines what kind of judgment you're going to receive. So when I see people get brutally killed, horrifically killed, the first question that pops in my mind is, what the hell did that person do the last time he was on the planet Earth that precipitated such a horrific judgment? This is why in Job, what is that, Job 4 and 7? See, very few people understand that. Very few people understand that, Job 4 and 7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent. And that's the first thing people like to say, oh, he was such an innocent person. He was such a loving person. Yeah, but what did he or she do the last time they were on the planet Earth? What did they do? That precipitated the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, which is a righteous power, to bring such a horrific judgment on them. That's the question. Okay? But people don't understand judgment. So, going back to our man Prince here, Prince is often called a modern-day Mozart. Okay? And like I said, this is a guy who could play more than 22 instruments. Any instrument this guy picked up, eventually he mastered it. This guy, Morris Day, said Prince was doing solos on par with Santana, Carlos Santana. And we all know how powerful Carlos Santana was back then on that guitar. He still is. Morris Day said Prince was doing Carlos Santana. And Carlos Santana was immensely popular around 1970, the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And Morris Day said Prince was doing Carlos Santana solos back then as a young kid when they were first coming up in the group that they started. Because Morris Day and Prince, they met as friends when they were very young. Okay? Get the video, man. Morris Day talking about Prince. Okay? There's no doubt in my mind this guy is definitely was Mozart. Mozart reincarnated. Absolutely. It just makes sense. And there was an artist, like I said, I wish I could remember her name, that compared him to Mozart. An artist that actually worked with him. And he was known for writing songs for artists, other artists. And those songs went on to become immensely popular. Let's read it here. Many of us are familiar with Prince-penned hits recorded by Chaka Khan, Stephanie Mills, Stevie Nicks. And by the way, Prince, another thing about Prince, he was good with the ladies, man. He was top notch with the ladies. He had some fine women in his stable. Stevie Nicks was one of them. Stevie Nicks and Prince had an affair. I mean, who didn't Stevie Nicks have an affair with, right? Talk about a loose woman. Chaka Khan, Stephanie Mills. I'm pretty sure he probably banged both of them. Prince, Stevie Nicks, Patti LaBelle, and Sheena Easton. I know for a fact he was banging Sheena Easton. Okay, Sheena Easton came out of Scotland. She was famous for the hit "Long Distance." It's one of my favorites from her. "Long Distance Love Affair." Also, her biggest hit was "9 to 5." All right, Sheena Easton. She was hot back then when she was young. Scottish. She had to be a Jake. Sheena Easton, Scottish chick. Among numerous others, plus all the notable tracks he wrote for other veterans of the Minneapolis Sound, including The Time. Yeah, he formed that group, The Time. Andre Simone, I remember Andre Simone. Again, I was living in Milwaukee at that time, and Andre Simone was very popular. Vanity Six, come on. Vanity Six, he made that group. By the way, the chick, her name, Denise Jones, I think her name was. He actually called her Vagina, but she didn't like that name, so he changed it to Vanity. So he Prince called the woman Vagina, and she said, "No, I don't like that. That's too explicit." And then he changed it to Vanity. Okay, and she was when she was young, Vanity, she passed away, but when she was young, I remember Vanity 6. I remember Apollonia. I think it was Apollonia 6, Vanity 6. This is when Vanity left and he replaced her with Apollonia, another fine woman. So Prince, come on, man. Prince was the man back then. All right. Andre Simone, Vanity 6, Sheila E., another woman he was banging, Sheila E. Or Sheila E., her father, Pete Escovedo. The E stands for Escovedo. Her father, Pete Escovedo, speaking of Santana, Pete Escovedo was in Santana. He was a percussionist, like his daughter. He was a percussionist that played in the group Santana. Okay? Sheila E. But did you know he also wrote for the likes of Joe Cocker? Now that I didn't know. Kenny Rogers, Celine. I knew about Kenny. Well, no, I'm sorry. I can't lie here. I didn't know he wrote for Kenny Rogers. I'm thinking of Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie's the one who wrote the song Lady for Kenny Rogers, which became a big hit. Speaking of country music, Kenny Rogers was a giant in country music during the 70s. Before that, he was actually in the psychedelic era because he was part of a group. I forgot the name of the group. The name of the song was I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. If you check that song out, that's kind of came out of the psychedelic era, psychedelic music. And Kenny Rogers was the lead singer on that song. I forgot the first edition? I think it might have been the first edition, the name of the group. The song was called I Just Dropped In to See What Condition My Condition Was In. Okay? So yeah, Joe Cocker, that dude is definitely a Jake. Matter of fact, if you want to get a real good laugh, you could watch John Belushi from Saturday Night Live. John Belushi, a member of the Not Ready for Primetime Players. Those of you old heads, you might remember that. Back when Saturday Night Live was actually funny. You had John Belushi, you had Dan Aykroyd, you had, this is way before Eddie Murphy came on Saturday Night Live. You had, what's her name? Dan Aykroyd was always calling her a slut. Jane something. Jane, I forgot her last name. Yeah, actually, he would say that. Dan Aykroyd would say, "Jane, you ignorant slut," and people would start cracking up. This is back before so-called politically correct. Okay, yeah. So the point is, you can watch a video where John Belushi is imitating Joe Cocker. Okay, this shit is funny as hell. Anyway, even Joe Cocker was laughing. Okay, Joe Cocker, Kenny Rogers, Celine Dion, and Candy Dulfer, whoever that is. I don't know who she is. I know who Celine Dion is. All right. Let's read some of this, which leads me to the question I posed at the end of my previous column. With all of his hits over the course of nearly 40 years, come on, man. How could you not see that dude had to be Mozart, man? This was no ordinary guy. You just saw the video when he was 12 years old. You could see he was no ordinary spirit. You see, when they put the mic in his mouth, he wasn't shy at all. He was just speaking his thoughts, and then people started gathering around him. That's not ordinary, man. That's extraordinary. Come on, man. Over the course of nearly 40 years and across multiple genres, how is it that Prince is not in the Songwriters Hall of Fame? Yeah, that's a good question. In the last decade alone, John Bon Jovi has been inducted as a none of these artists, John Bon Jovi, John Sebastian, but even John Sebastian, he was famous for the song. He was part of the group called the Lovin' Spoonful. He was famous for the song, what's the name of that song? In the City. That was a big hit in the late 60s. I think that's the name of it, John Sebastian. They were also famous for the song Do You Believe in Magic, Lovin' Spoonful. And then he went on to, he became solo. He did Nashville Cats. He was famous for that. It's a country song. But anyway, John Sebastian was nowhere on the level of Prince. And he was talented. He did the theme song for Welcome Back, Carter. That's him singing the song Welcome Back, John Sebastian. But he was nowhere as talented as Prince. None of these guys. Jermaine Dupri, come on, Jermaine Dupri. Linda Perry, Steve Tyler, or Steven Tyler, which he's a so-called Italian. His real name is Steven Tylerico. He's come out of Boston. He did the group. He led the group Aerosmith. None of these guys. Now, Steven Tyler is very talented. Aerosmith had a lot of hits, but he wasn't as talented as Prince. With all due respect to each these individuals, none of them have any business getting into the Songwriters Hall of Fame before Prince. I have to agree with that. Even though John Sebastian came before Prince, all right, because John Sebastian goes back to the 60s. Okay, like I said, he fronted the group The Lovin' Spoonful. Some might say, appropriately so, that songwriting is about more than the number of records sold, airplay, and chart position, and Prince would have been the first in line to agree with those people, bringing us back to why albums matter. So basically, this article, they're giving you reasons why people say, and a lot of artists compared Prince to a modern day Mozart. So my brother, all right.
I think our production manager put it best. I don't know why it's cool, but it is.
You might have to reconsider. Let me go back to the. You might have to reconsider your statement there, buddy. Where is it? Surrogate of Yahushai. If you had the spirit of Yahushai really on you, you'd be able to make the comparison, man. You'd be able to be more sharper in the spirit. How could you not see that Prince fits the mold of Mozart? I'm trying to find this guy's comment. All right. Surrogate of Yahushai. How can you not see that? I can't seem to find a comment. Well, you get the idea. I already showed you the comment that he said. you'll never consider Prince to be Mozart. Well, you might have to reconsider that. All right? All right, so on to the next one.